Alright, so the game I have here is my autos, Pyroman's ports against France ports, and Sergi's German. And before I look at anything else, I just want to point out Pyro's factory location. You never want to place your factories like this. They should always be behind your starting TC. Because the way they're placed right now, if he gets pushed into his base, then Fran can mortar his factories really easily. Yeah. So let's look at the scores. My score is pretty decent, especially for no team cards. Pyroman's score is alright. Fran's score is good. And Sergio's score is also good. Gathered a lot of wood, but that's fine if he's planning on spamming natives. Because of the cliff position, like how this cliff here will prevent him from FBing. So if he gets pushed back here, then he pretty much loses the position. Like because of how this is set up, he should have like deleted an extra 5 or 10 vills to like ensure he wins the start army, which would let him secure this position up here. Fran did his full Hussar start army that he's well known for. He also made Kolbs as well as Hussars, and you shouldn't really make Kolbs in your start army if you're going Hussar. Like, point of going Hussar is to like completely run over your start army and destroy your opponent's start army and destroy his artillery. So why do you need Kolb? Making Kolb is like assuming the Hussar start army is not gonna work. Yeah. I actually made Kolbs here, and the reason is because this is a choke, so if Sergio micros well, I'm not going to be able to get to his heavy cannons with Hussars or with Abyss guns, so yeah. Because the armies will be more condensed and consolidated in one spot. See, I have my Minutemen in front of my army because their main purpose is just like absorb one shot and just start the wreck. Sergio should move these Ulans in. 30 Jans is not that much. She should move them in from like the left. Just made heavy cannons, but no coals. See, he's moving his Ulans back and forth, like moving them into my. He was moving them into my army, and then like where they would just take a bunch of shots and then moving them back. He should just like either go in or keep them back. Fran is flanking Pyro with his Hussars, but while he's doing that, he should also be moving forward with his main army here. Because now the Hussars are just gonna die while his main army is just sitting back here. And a flank from Sergio. It's always a good idea to try to split auto whenever you can. Like Sergio did right there. And see Sergio's Ulans and natives coming in. Again, he wants to push up so that he actually has room to FB up here. And Germany get their initial natives out a lot faster than auto because of the training speed. That's an advantage. I should be queuing a mortar right now because of how close his FB is. Some idle, some pyro, and I don't like how many musk he has. Like, these goons and these black riders are more than enough anti-cav. Just queue cast right now. like how Pyro's walling that flank. Fran is also well known for his mortar flank, so Pyro's walling really early to prevent that. Yeah, why am I not queuing a mortar? Oh, Fran has this mortar right here. This is a very good position because he can shell my FB. And he can even shell some of Pyro's FB from there. This is a very good position, and this is a very good wall. It'll protect his mortars from any hussars. You can see, like, his mortars are preventing me from getting my embassies up. They destroyed a foundry, I'm pretty sure. So you just queued Horseheart. I think you should, like, queue Horseheart with Colves so that you can, like, protect them from your opponent's calls. Could you do some passes up here? Sergio has very few war wagons and they're all up front. You want your war wagons to be behind your army so that they don't get destroyed by scum type units. And it's worth mentioning that Abyss guns don't do as much damage to ranged cav as they should. They have like a 0.75 multiplier against ranged cav when you account for all the bonuses. So you can afford to go a little bit heavy on anti-cav against auto. Like, it's better to make too much anti-cav than not enough, because their units, they do really shitty damage anti-cav. I like this explorer placement by Pyro. Did he send 2 explorers yet? You should always send 2 explorers before 40 if you have it in your deck. Explorers are insane. And I don't like the goons in front of his cast here. Fran has 6 Colbs right now, but they're like totally useless unless he also makes some organs. Because that's 6 pop that Fran has invested on Colbs that Pyro can invest in his army. So Fran should queue some organs so that the Colbs are worth it. And then Pyro has to like make Colbs to get on top of the organs. Again, Fran mortaring my FB from here, using his map control, using the cliff formations to his advantage. I can't flank those mortars because of the cliff. Yeah, Fran is very good at that. Oh my god, I'm so cold. My throat hurts. Oh well. What can you do? I have the heater running on full too. Holy fuck. Anyway. Let's look at Sergio for a bit. Sergio is stacking shipments. This is not something you want to do with German, especially at this stage. Sees arsenal, advanced arsenal upgrades coming in. This might be too many cores. I'm not making any Horseheart right now, so there's no need to queue so many cores. I mean, I guess to keep on top of my mortars, but I feel like it'd be better invested in Ulan or something. Like, I can just pull back my cores and now I have more army pop than he does because he invested all his stuff in cores. He needs to be very careful here. These cores are really close together and yeah, he's pulling them back. Fran, this is a really weird composition from Fran. Where's his army? And yeah, he's queuing cast, but for a while it looked like he had like only goon. But he fixed it. Fran is towering, which is good. These expo units should be pushed forward so that they die because they're like useless at this point. The only good is overpop, and yeah, once you're like below 200 pop, you should just like delete your expos if they're still alive and replace them with good Imperial units. Again, I should be mortaring this more. Sergio is now aggressively towering. and I'm choosing the Corv against Sergio rather than just using my Abyss guns to kill his Corvs, because like I explained before, the armies are more condensed, so it's easier for him to use his skirms and stuff to protect his artillery from my Abyss. What's his build count? That's alright, I guess. He's queuing some Horsart, but he knows I have Corvs out, so he should have queue some Corvs with the Horsart so that he can take care of my Corvs, and then he won't have to and then I won't be able to immediately kill his Horsart with my Corvs. Like, Corvs are generally you always want to have Corvs out usually. Because like mortars, because like if your opponent has organ guns or horse artillery out and you don't, you're likely gonna lose the fight. And mortars that you push, and if you can keep on top of corpse, you can kill your opponent's mortars and prevent him from pushing. And of course there are a few exceptions to this rule. You can get away with not making calls against like India. Or even against Stato, like I'm not making Horsart, so Sergio could maybe just not make any calls at all, but because he's making Horsart, he should be queuing calls as well with it, so that he can protect it from my calls. And now this pop is just wasted because he has to keep his Horsart back. I see Pyro draining against Fran. What's going on there? Right now, Fran's Castador Mass just looks a lot stronger than Pyro Man's right now. And that's probably why Pyro Man was getting owned there. Because Pyro has always pop invested in, like, goons. He also has no FB right here. I'm pretty sure this is even out of water range, so he should definitely build a bit there. Yeah, my explorer positioning is pretty good there. The explorer should be like right in front of your army. Ideally they should be like literally inside your opponent's army to like tank as much damage as possible, but this is okay too. Like they're in front of my Abyss, which is all that matters. Yeah, I see Pyro Man really overdoing the goons much more than Fran is. Although Pyro Man is getting some good shots off with his organs, so. Although he just lost him. Yeah, one of the things with autos is if you're constantly queuing natives in your embassy, sometimes the natives like stack in one embassy and then you have to cancel the natives from that embassy and re-queue them so that they queue in all three. It's really annoying, and it's one of the major downsides to auto and natives is the training time. The upside is that, of course, native synergize really well with your army. You have tanky Huminka to cover high damage Abyss guns and Bolus, yeah. And of course, Abyss do insane damage to Huminka. Sergio could use some Ulans here. I have like no anti-cav out, like even the Huminkas I don't really have many Humincas out right now, so Surge could definitely pop 10 Ulans, and there's 5 Ulans, but 5 Ulans aren't really enough to do damage to an Abyss Mass. You need like 10 Ulans, because the Ulans have low HP, so what'll happen is like 2 or 3 Ulans just die, and there we go, 10 Ulans. This is what Sergio's doing. Now it's a bit too late, because now I have a decent amount of Humincas on the field, but yeah, I guess. Like this. And again with the Musk, I really don't like the Musk. Like, Musk only have a purpose in like the first 2 minutes. Like, say you win the artillery fight in the start fight and your opponent spams Hussar, like that's the only time I would make Musk in a point mirror. And here's Pyroman's like caught without anti-cav. I'm gonna get swarmed by like 10 Huss. Should try not to let that happen to you by having like at least 10 goon out at all times. Pyroman reacted well to it. You see Fran pushing up here. It's pretty good. He's trying to mortar. He's trying to hit Pyro's FB from every angle possible. Those casts are alone and unprotected. They're gonna die really fast. He should have like mortars and a Musk. And Musk. Oh yeah, that's the other use of Musk. Or to like protect mortars. And even then, goons do that. Do an okay job at that as well. But meleeed Musk will do better at protecting artillery that's out in the open like this. Let's go back to the cliffs. So you could also try splitting here. I have like 3 walls. He has to break down 2 walls and then he's in one mortar range. I might not. Again, Fran with his mortar. And these mortars are in a really good spot. He can hit my artillery foundries and my embassies from there. Yeah. I have like 10 cab archers on that side. He could like drag click his Humincas to that side and then wreak havoc on my cab archers. His Humincas on the wrong side right now. It's kind of nitpicking, I guess. I don't really like Dops against auto. Although since I'm making cab archer, then mixing Dops might actually be a good idea here. But again, his Dops should be on the right side, where my cab archers are. This massive infantry, you can see it's not very really attacking. It should be moved forward, like here. Fran is continually pressuring this side, forcing Pyro to divert top, and this is gonna let him get a push here. That seems to be his plan, to push here, mortar here, and hopefully that'll let, and I guess he's hoping that'll let Sergio beat me. And now Sergio could use some mortars, because my Abyss guns are really far up. I mean, my artillery foundries are really close to the fight. And again, Fran has like 6 colbs, and that's wasted pop right now. Fran needs to make some organs so that he can beat down Pyro's infantry mass, because Fran has so much pop in colbs that there's no way he can compete with Pyro in a cast-on-cast war now. And I guess I should have talked about the advantages of a German teammate versus an auto teammate in Port Mirrors. Autos give you 3 shot calls, but Germany gives you team mills and team cav attack. So the player with the German teammate will have stronger goons, stronger Huss, and a slightly better eco. But the player with the auto teammate will have 3 shot calls. And honestly, I'd say it evens out pretty well. I'd say the player with the auto teammate has a slight advantage, and that advantage grows the longer the game goes. Because longer the game goes, the more Cold Wars you fight, the more chances 3 shot calls have to take effect. Yeah, Pyro should back off his cast right now because Fran has more casts. Pyro has everything in goons, and he's running back all his goons to deal with 5 hussers. That's bad. Fran could like he's doing right now, hussing from the main fight and forcing Pyro back because Pyro sent all his goons to deal with just a few hussers. Not really much to talk about in this fight. Not really many mistakes being made from either side. Sergio was Colbs out, but artillery. And that must have been a misclick. It's pretty unfortunate. I guess I'll look at Sergio. Again, I like my Explorer placement here. It would be even better if it were like right in his war wagons. Like Sergio, his main weakness is his like Colf micro, and sometimes he's a bit slow, but compositionally he's usually alright. He usually knows what he's doing. I think he's going for a skirm mass, some war wagons. And I see him dropping to like 175 pop. Maybe that's the problem. His pop's dropping too much. He's letting his pop drop too much. Because if you look at me, I'm almost never below 190. This core right here, all of this artillery actually could easily be abyssed. Should be pulled back to more like here, I guess. And yes, he's pulling it back right now because he saw the threat, but not before losing like 2 cores to my abyss. Yeah, fighting a losing battle here, Pyro. Oh no, never mind. Pyro has like 2 explorers right inside of Fran's Castadors. That's gonna like, even though Pyro has less Castadors, he's gonna win that battle because of the explorers soaking up all the damage. Pyro could do 10 Huss here because Fran has like no goons. That's what I would just try to do. Yeah. If Sergio had seen that and reacted immediately, I could have lost a few of those goals to Ulan flanks. Yeah, he could flank these goals with these natives coming in from the left. Which he's doing right now. Seems like he only sent 5, though. And again, since I'm all Abyss, he's ulaning, which is good. And again, Fran is pushing because he's splitting from 2 sides, forcing Pyro to pop. And maybe Pyro's a bit slow. And we see him overreacting on the left side, which then results in a push in the main fight. Sergio is pushing in with native Ulan skirm right now, which is what he needs to be doing. These skirms should be more in there and attack moves. Like, he has 10 idle skirms right now. And they shouldn't be firing from max range. They should be, like, in there because, like, I only have 2 embassies. I don't know. And I'm in a really, and now he's doing it. Because I'm in a really, pretty desperate position right now. Could probably make some horse artilleries, that's a good mess. And a few seconds ago he had 50 scones, and now he has like no scones. It's weird. The only time you should be making no skirms with German is if you have like 5 heavy cannons. Then you can drop the skirm and do Doppel heavy cannon and just destroy your opponent's army like 2 times over. But if he only has 3 heavy cannons, so he should still have a decent skirm mass, which he's working on, I guess. His FB is not in the greatest spot, and it's not really his fault, it's this position, although I guess he could delete these 2 towers and build up here. So Fran is low on eco, I guess because he kept spamming. And now he's making organs, which is what he should be doing because he's at an eco disadvantage. So now he has to play really cost effectively to catch up. But East Cash should be like pulled back a bit because of Pyro's organs here. Soji seems to have his heavy cannons idle a lot. And it's kind of hard to protect them against Abyss, but should like be active against heavy cannons, abusing their range, hitting your opponent's infantry mass, and then trying to run back. And like, say I spam 8 Abyss and I kill his heavy cannons. That's not a worthwhile trade for me. Because 8 Abyss are like a lot of resources, and that heavy cannon was free from a shipment. he handles. So Soju should definitely be a bit more aggressive with his heavy cannons. And also another thing worth mentioning, if you get a good shot off and kill like 5 of my Abyss and kill a decent number of my Abyss that way, then it's also worth it to lose a heavy cannon for that. Because you can just ship more. Let's see how many. Soju has 4 idle shipments. He could easily just ship more heavy cannons. And Soju is pushing right now. He should be FBing behind this, especially here. And I don't even know if pushing is the best decision when you're behind as German against Otto. Because I have more score than he does right now. And again, Fran is, now that he's behind on Eco, he's just trying to sit back with organs. Trying to make up that Eco deficit. And also while mortaring with Sergio, and this is a really good time to mortar because I am in a really dire position. Sergio's about to push to my Nat. And then this is a really good time for Fran to make a last desperate play because they're both behind on Eco, so he has to do. So they have to push to win, or they just lose. And I guess, and Fran felt that he wouldn't be able. I guess Fran thought he wouldn't be able to push in the main fight because he was trying to. Yeah. Losing your Nat as Otto is a really big deal. Because Otto are one of those civs that can't afford to be out-popped. And Soju didn't build any FB here for the entire duration of his push. That is not good. That's very sloppy. And I make that same as shit. How long have those been idle? That is also a really big deal. If he had I think they were idle for the entire duration of his push as well. If he had had those bolus, wow. I'm like switching between the two fights, but Pyro has been getting much better shots off with his organ guns than Fran has. I guess Fran has been keeping them back so much that you're not really shooting, and Pyro is moving his more forward, so they're getting more shots off at his infantry and doing much more damage. And even though he's losing organs, it's still worth it. Like, losing 1 organ to kill like 5 Castors, for example. I guess it'd have to be more like 6 Castors, but that would be worth it. Fran is like spamming Husk flanks into here. I don't really like. Why would you spam Husk flanks into a native fight when I can just micro Huminka on the Huskers and kill them? Seems like a waste of resources. If he wants to help Soju push, he should send Castors and mortars. And maybe some Dragoons as well. And now that I have a solid eco advantage, I'm starting to push out with Hussars and natives. Oh, I've said this before, but you always want to stay popped on natives, like pretty much no matter what. And there are very few situations where you might want to pull your Huminkas back, like maybe against Zero or even against Otto, but you should always be maxed on natives, because they're like overpop. Pyro should try to get some walls up here, although it's hard against Fran to get walls up because Fran tends to focus villagers, which is a good thing that he should be doing. I think the heater's finally starting to take effect. Anyway. Why are Pyro's goons on the right side while Fran is flanking from the left? Like, as a general rule, you should have your goons always, like, directly behind your castors, and then if your opponent flanks, you might, like, move them towards the hussars. Pyro's mortaring me, which is good that he's finally doing that, because he sees Fran has been mortaring with Sergio all game, so now that he's solidified this position and has Fran on the defensive and a decent eco advantage, there's pretty much no reason for him not to be mortaring here. So this is a good play by Pyro. Sergio, I was gonna say he maybe should have filled up earlier, but outmassing Otto is crucial to beating them. This German. Like, if you go for 100 Vil Pop as German against Otto, then the Otto player actually has a fair chance at beating you. I think the problem is Sergio has been playing so low on Vils that when he doesn't stay maxed on Pop, it's even more devastating. Like, if you're playing low on Vils, you have to be maxed on Pop to be getting the most out of it. Because if you're not beating your opponent's military, you're losing hard on eco, and to be beating your opponent on military, you have to have more military. To have more military, you have to be maxed on Pop at like 190, 200 or more at all times. Pyro sending goons here is a good idea because Fran has been hustling here, and goons like synergize pretty well with autos because cav archers are not as good as goons. And actually shouldn't really be made. In Nats, that is. Out of Nats, cav archers have their select uses. Like while you're waiting for a Janissary batch. Oh yeah, you'll notice I'm not really making Janissaries this game. That's because it's a choke. So Humenkas and good Abyss micro and a few hustlers to block if the Ulan mass becomes too scary is actually enough in this situation to beat any Ulan masses. Although again, if I'm like going 50 Abyss, then he should make Ulan. Like, even if I beat the Ulan mass cost effectively, I lose ground because I have to pull back my Abyss. Now Sergi is in a pretty desperate position. He should have to be here right now and try flanking me from both sides. Oh, I accidentally hit the particles button. Sorry about that. He's trying to do from his starter FB. I guess he has no other choice, cause he's completely abandoning this position, which, considering his resources, is probably the best thing he can do. Pyro has like 29 goons now. Fran shouldn't be making any hustlers. These organs are too far back. You have a curve advantage. Like, move them forward a bit. And Fran drained really hard because we saw how much he was like spamming. He spams a lot of hustlings in the both in the cliffs and here in this fight. And like we saw that one point where he had like he had like unprotected castles here. There's stuff like that. It adds up and it can drain you. Like if it happens once, it's not such a big deal, but all those little spammy things, they add up and they can drain you really hard. Sergio lost. It seemed like he just wasn't keeping max pop enough, and he wasn't aggressive enough with his heavy cannons, and yeah. Because Sergio was in a pretty decent position before the heavy cannons, wasn't he? He had like a 200-point lead. Like he was 1900 and I was 1750. That's pretty decent, because then once heavy cannons come out, you should not be draining as fast, and your opponent should be draining faster, because heavy cannons are a really powerful unit. And again, he like spammed a lot here while he had idle bolus, and he didn't really FB here while he was pushing. It's always important to FB behind pushes, and yeah, that's the game. And yeah, Sergio was very low on Vil Pop for the duration of this game. And let's look at the military graph. Like, Sergio is dropping lower than me at points, even though his Vil count was lower, so his military population should be higher. Like, his military graph is more of a zigzag and mine is more of a straight line, so that's probably how I beat him. And of course, and we already explained Fran versus Pyro. Like the little spammy things, they add up. Pyro fed me that game. So Sergio actually didn't do that bad considering the 12.5k I received. And again, like I said, his composition was usually on point. A skirm mass with war wagons behind it, and occasional Ulans whenever I had a lot of Abyss and not as many hustlers. My Humigas were still in queue. But it's just a bit of sloppiness on Sergio's part that lost him that game. Because with the port mortars, with the port mortar help, German should be able to beat auto hard enough that a 12.5k feed shouldn't matter. But yeah, this was a pretty good game. It was really close because my Nat got killed and I lost half my FB. And if Sergio had FB'd and played a bit more cleanly and not so sloppily, they could have taken this game, because yeah, once auto loses a nat, it's a very big deal. I'll probably do another record game analysis before I go to sleep tonight. Right after I upload this one, so see ya, I guess.